Oh man, it is Thursday night, guys, and we are here live on the Man Hour. And look, I've got something I want to talk to you guys about. And Aaron Judge the other night hits number 62. And you see it all over Facebook. Oh, Aaron Judge broke the record. Aaron Judge did this. Aaron Judge that. Aaron Judge is the MVP. Aaron Judge, blah, 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 blah. First of all, Aaron Judge did not break the record. The record is 73. And I don't even want to hear, don't talk about steroids, don't talk about, PEDs, don't talk about the steroid era and these guys did this and these guys did that. Barry Bonds hit 73 baseballs that flew over a major league fence. That means he hit 73 home runs in a season. And I don't want to hear, I'll tell you right now, I love this argument, but I also hate it because it drives me nuts, right? For all of you people that believe 62 is the record, I invite you to come to my house. I'll give you the address, DM me, do whatever you got to do. And I want you to give me $73, and I'll give you back 62. Okay? Since 62 is greater than 73, you'll make money. I don't know what to tell you. You guys are freaking clowns. And all you people out there, the Daniel Sullivans of the world, the other guys that are out there talking about, oh, well, they did steroids, and steroids makes you better, and steroids does this, steroids does that. You guys, your take on that is so weak, it is unbelievable. Buck, pop up on screen, Buck. I need you on screen for this. All right. I got a question for you, all right? Actually, let's run a test. We're going to do it this way. Let's run a test. I'm going to name off some names of players who have been suspended for PED use since 2005, and I want you to raise your hand every time a name pops up that you know the guy and you know the name of the player and it rings a bell and you maybe you even seen him play. All right, you ready? Let's start. We're going to go with Mike Cameron. Yeah, I've heard of Mike Cameron. He's an outfielder, played for the Cubs for a couple of years, played for the Mariners most of his career. Manny Ramirez, right? You've heard of Manny Ramirez, so that's two. Marlon Byrd. I heard of Marlon Byrd. I'll give you that one. But I'm a baseball guy, right? I'm a baseball guy. How about Antonio Bastardo? Let's try Troy Patton. What about Jeanri Mejia? No. How about Cody Stanley? Abraham Almonte? Chris Colabello? All right, let me try Robinson Cano. Well, hey. All right, so 4. Let's see here. Robinson Cano again. So I guess we'll count him twice since he got suspended twice. We'll count Robinson. Fernando Tatis Jr. He got suspended this year. Buck, we just named off a list of about 10 to 12 names, and we knew about 3 or 4 of them. Correct? Out of those 3 or 4 names that we knew, how many of those guys had a 50 home run season? Nope. Manny Ramirez never had a 50 home run season. Yeah.
Then I guess they're Combsy. I got nothing.
The answer is 0. None of those guys have even hit 50 home runs in a season. The list of players that have been suspended with having 0 MLB experience and never making it to the big leagues is larger than the list of major leaguers who have been suspended for it. The list of major leaguers that were down in the minors when they got caught juicing is larger than the list of major league players who got suspended while they were in the major leagues. So how does taking PEDs, how does making steroids make you a better baseball player? The answer is that it doesn't. All it does, it helps you heal faster. Sure, maybe it gives you a little bit more bat speed, a little bit more body mass. It makes you hit the ball a little bit further. Barry Bonds' balls were landing in McCovey Cove, hitting the boats in McCovey Cove. So go ahead, take 30 or 40 feet off of that. They still land in frickin' McCovey Cove. Like, Stop with the nonsense of oh, well, these guys were PED users and these guys don't belong in the Hall of Fame. And these guys, they were only good at baseball because they used steroids. Steroids do not make you better at baseball. They don't. A lot of these guys were using because it would get you over the minor aches and pains. Cal Ripken was obviously using steroids. There's no way you play that many straight games of baseball without something to get you through the everyday aches and pains. Ken Griffey Jr., who everybody says, oh, he did it the right way. He did it clean. Really? Because as soon as they started testing, he gained about 40 pounds. And all of a sudden, he couldn't get off the injured reserve. Because he was no longer allowed to do the stuff and use the stuff that he was doing to get him through the aches and pains and the minor injuries. People just want to hold on to this. Oh, well, we've got to hold on to the sanctity of the game. I love this game more than just about anything in this world. My kids and my wife are the only thing that are above baseball. And my wife's really, really close. Just kidding, Michelle. But this game, you don't have to protect the sanctity of the game. You can't just wipe out an entire era. And you can't just draw the line in the sand at steroids, but let guys like Ty Cobb into the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry that your moral compass draws a line at injecting yourself with a needle, but not at being a racist and being a no murderer. I'm sorry. That your argument on the steroid era, anybody's argument against the steroid era is stupid. It makes zero sense. Does not make you better at baseball. And the one thing that you guys all forget is how many players used, but were never good enough to be in the major leagues. Hey, shit, if I shoot up right now for 5 straight years, you think I'm going to go out and hit 62 home runs? No, I'm not even going to hit one. I might not even catch up and make contact with a pitch enough to even foul one off. Steroids don't make you better at baseball. These guys were phenomenal. Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, as many home runs as they hit, they were phenomenal. Barry Bonds is the greatest ball player of all time. I'll argue it till the death. Barry Bonds is the greatest baseball player of all time. And you can sit there and say all you want. Oh, he broke the American. There's not even an American League anymore. We all play by the same rules now. They even broke up the league offices. There's not even league offices anymore. They basically have Major League Baseball with 2 conferences, the AL and the NL, that all play under the same rules now. So stop with the nonsense. Buck, hit the music.
Are you ready for the best damn radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You don't want to be every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that while I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the court. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzz beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckasher here with the Man Hour. So head over to manhourradio.com. Check out the blog section. Of course, check out the merchandise section as well. We have the new Man Hour logo tee over there. We got the flames happening. The orange on the gray with the black. It's so sexy. It makes me feel all sexy. It makes my arms look huge. Combs, look at that. Man, it looks like I got some freaking mice and pythons, man.
My biceps are starting to get bigger too, but it's just because this ring is like lifting weights, man. This freaking ring.
Yeah, so guys,
I don't know what the hell's going on.
Welcome, Mr. Brandon Combs to the show, Mr. Married Man himself. Welcome back, Combsy. How do you feel, man, after being 5-6 days of married now?
I mean, it's been great. We've had a lot of fun. Thank you again for coming down, being a part of the big day. For those that don't know, Buck was one of the groomsmen in the wedding.
Yeah.
And he did a phenomenal job. We broke off when I was about to say I do. We broke off into a huddle, got the whole place kind of rolling.
Michelle's probably still pissed about that, by the way. Cindy said she was rolling back the eye roll so bad, like holding it back. I'm like,
she did say, she's like, I got scared a little bit, to be honest with you. She's like, I didn't know what you were doing, if you were having second thoughts. She's like, I thought I was gonna have to beat your ass in front of everybody. No, it was a great day. It was a great weekend. You got to go to Wrigley for the first time. So that was a ton of fun. And it was great. The only difference now is that there's just well, actually it's not really a difference. I mean, when I talk, nobody listens. It's just about the same.
Actually, it's so now you are always wrong. You can't do anything right. No, I'm totally kidding.
What do you mean now? That's been my entire life.
That's right. But anyways, Combs, I know Sandy and I had tons of fun. I know you guys had some fun as well. It was definitely a good time hanging out with you and Hoffy and Jason, Mr. Lactose himself. It was a great time. So speaking of great times, guys, we do got a pretty good show for you lined up tonight. We're going to talk some Tua and Mr. Concussions like himself. I thought I was the only one that had concussion problems, but apparently Tua's got concussion problems as well. We're going to talk a little bit about the Cowboys and Rams, Jets and Dolphins. New Tom Brady 2.0, or it should be 3.0 since Cooper Rush is in Brady 2.0. Bailey Zappe will be talking a little bit about him. Monday Night Protesters. And then we got to dive in a little bit of a Tyreek Hill issue that's happening over there in Miami as well. But Combs, are you ready to get the If and Then Thursdays rounded up, my man?
Let's do this.
Let's do it. So if you guys do not know what If and Then is, we simply go over to the Facebook groups or or Twitters or whatever, and we pull out statements of what people are talking about, and we created them into an If and Then statement. So the first If and Then statement of the night is about the Dallas Cowboys and the LA Rams. They have a Week 5 matchup, and obviously Dak Prescott, the Cowboys leader, the $100 million man himself, has not played since the second quarter of Week 1, and since then the Cowboys are undefeated. Cooper Rush leads the high-flying Cowboys defense. Wait, he's an offensive quarterback, right? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. He's being carried by his defense, but Combsy, if the Dallas Cowboys beat the LA Rams in LA this weekend, then what?
If the Dallas Cowboys beat the LA Rams, then I would be correct, because I pick the Dallas Cowboys to beat the LA Rams in the LA Coliseum this weekend. Look, I like Cooper Rush, man. When they were going to Cooper Rush, I was like, damn, this Dallas team is in trouble. This kid is one of those that, like, I don't know if this is what was his name? I don't know if this is a Matt Castle type guy. I don't know if this is what's his face who went to Seattle and then Russell Wilson started
Matt
over.
Flynn.
Matt Flynn. Like, you don't know which one he is, right? Is he going to have a sustained good career, or is he going to be one of those guys who goes and just kind of flakes out and never really makes it, but just had a good time because nobody really had tape on him? I think it's the first one. I think he's going to go on and have a really good career. I think Cooper Rush is going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL next year. However, I don't think it's going to be with the Dallas Cowboys. I think once Dak comes back, Dak's going to take over. And look, say what you want about Dak. Say what you want about, the injuries, or, they haven't won a playoff game with them, or they haven't done this, or they haven't done that. Dak Prescott is a really good quarterback, and Cooper Rush is going to find his time. Now, if Dak comes back and the offense starts to sputter a little bit, or they lose a game or two, there might start being some chattering, right? And then maybe Dak finds himself traded by the trade deadline, and Cooper Rush is all of a sudden a quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm completely incorrect, But I don't see that happening, because look, Dak is still Dak Prescott, and I I like Dak Prescott. I really do. I think he gets a bad rap. I think that he hasn't. I don't think a lot of these losses are on him, especially coming in the playoffs. I mean, that playoff loss last year was completely on Mike McCarthy. Clock management strikes again with Mike McCarthy. So
it was the right play call. Come on.
It's the clock management. How do you not have? I mean, you're in such a tight game. You can't be burning your timeouts because you've got too many men in the huddle with a minute and a half to go. Like, you can't do that type of stuff, and you got to be a better coach team than that. So to me, that's a Mike McCarthy problem and not a Dak Prescott problem. So I do think Cooper Rush has a future in this league. I do think the Dallas Cowboys win this weekend because I really think there is more to Matt Stafford's elbow injury than anybody really understands, because the Rams just don't look like the same Rams.
Well, I mean, the Rams don't look at the same Rams because I was completely wrong about Von Miller, but we can get into that later here. But I want to pull out some phrases that you said here real quick. One, let me collect my thoughts and make sure I'm saying this correctly. You said Dak Prescott will be traded by the trade deadline if the offense sputters when he comes back. There is no way the Dallas Cowboys are trading a $100 million quarterback. Who are they going to trade them to? The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Miami Dolphins that can't even afford a lineman to protect
Seattle Seahawks.
I mean, I think the Seahawks are hell-bent of just keeping their quarterbacks as is and getting in the draft, because the draft may not be this bad this year, or maybe they're hoping to bake on getting.
If the Broncos lose to the Colts tonight, maybe they go out and get another. Maybe they have $500 million sitting in their quarterback room.
Maybe I'm just like there is no way Dak Prescott is getting traded. Like, there is no way, because if there is a quarterback controversy in Dallas, that is because Mike McCarthy, exactly what you said, is a terrible coach. The only way that Dak Prescott can really sputter when he comes back is if he comes back too soon. Because this defense right now is killing it. This defense is locking down anybody in the NFL. And right now they have a game manager in Cooper Cooper Rush. I keep saying Cup for some reason, but whatever. But like, he is managing the games and he is doing well. They don't need to do anything else different when Dak Prescott comes back. Dak Prescott needs to be that game manager that Cooper Rush is being, Combs.
Cooper Rush isn't really game managing per se, though, is he? I mean, what are you looking at right now at Cooper Rush that says he's a game manager? I mean, he's out there, he's balling now.
So don't get it twisted. Like, game manager is not a bad term. Tom Brady is a game manager. Alex Smith was a game manager.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it is not a bad term. Like, he is out there not
Tom Brady
making
also
mistakes.
has 300 plus passing yards week in and week out.
But I'm saying, like, as a game manager, you are out there not making mistakes. You are not forcing the ball into triple coverage, i.e., Geno Smith, i.e. Tua. You know, they are not forcing things that are not there. They are perfectly happy nickeling and diming you down the field. That's what Dak Prescott needs to do.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's completed 60% of his passes since he's become the starting quarterback in the last 4 games.
Right.
He's I believe he's had I think he's like 60 for 100 or something around there. He's averaging like 7 yards a pass. He's got 4 touchdowns, but he hasn't thrown 1 pick yet.
Right.
And they're protecting him very well. I think he's averaged 1 sack a game or something like that. So they're protecting him very well.
With backup offensive linemen too.
And they've got weapons, man. CeeDee Lamb, they got that kid that he seems to just click with, which is Noah Brown.
Yeah.
I picked Noah Brown up on my fantasy team just because of how much I watched that first game that they played and saw how they clicked. I was like, damn, this kid's going to get a lot of looks. So I picked him up quick, but he's got weapons. And, then they've got a really damn good backfield with Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. I mean, that's a really good 1-2 combo. So I believe in this kid. I think that this kid is, look, we hung out all weekend, right?
Right.
What was it? It was three gingers hanging out all weekend right at the wedding.
Yep.
This is another ginger, man. This is a guy I'd like to party with.
Yeah, I mean, hell, we have a great time when we party. Let's just be flat out honest about it. But when we think of Cooper Rush, we have to think of this guy as the player that he is. He's been cut by the Dallas Cowboys 3 times in his career, Combs. He has been cut by the New York Giants once in his career. The fact of the matter is, maybe he is just getting lucky and not playing against good teams. Because let's just be honest, they played against the Commanders, not a very good team. They played against
a damn good defense, though.
It's a damn good defense, but when you have the best defensive player on the planet right now, and Micah Parsons going against you in practice every day, that makes you that much
he beat
better.
the defending AFC champions, and then he went out and he went into New York and beat a team that at the time was undefeated.
Well,
in the Giants,
well,
and that's a divisional game. Who always plays the Cowboys tough.
You are right about the Giants.
I don't think you're giving him enough credit. If he goes in this weekend and beats the Rams, and then say Dak still isn't back for next week against the Eagles, if they go 2-0 in that stretch, are you a believer then?
Well, I'm not saying I am not a believer of Cooper Rush, but let's call a spade. When they beat the Bengals, the defending AFC champions, right? They were a struggling team at the time. They didn't know from heads to tails. And hell, right now, the Bengals are not even a top 15 in the league. They're just not very good. The Giants, at the time, Daniel Jones was hurt, right? Rod Taylor went out with a concussion like the very next play, if not 2 plays after that. They had Saquon Barkley running a quarterback, which is probably the best quarterback on their team, but we'll digress from that. And the Commanders are just bad. So, I mean, yes, he is 3-0. Yes, he did beat some good accolade teams from last year and, of course, a division. But we will see when they play a really good team, not in the Rams, but with the Eagles. If he's still playing against the Eagles and he does beat the Eagles, I believe it's at home too. So, I mean, that is a true test because the Eagles are probably the best team in the NFC right now. But
no, they're in Philadelphia for that game.
Okay, so that makes it even that much more impressive if they were to beat that team.
Yeah, look, I like Cooper Rush. I'm a believer in Cooper Rush. I think they're going to beat the Rams this week. I give them a solid shot to beat the Eagles next week. I think the Eagles are poised to lose 2 in a row here. I think that they're going to sleep on the Cardinals looking ahead to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And then they're going to get their butts waxed twice. And then everybody's going to be like, what's wrong with the Eagles? Were we overhyping them at 4-0, blah, blah, blah? Are they this year's Arizona Cardinals? But I don't know. Cooper Rush has this team rolling. I don't see it stopping, and I definitely don't see it stopping against the Rams.
Yeah, we will. Only time will tell. My bad. I got the old sneezers happening. Apparently, it's allergy season still, or hasn't got cold enough here. Excuse me. But moving on to the next topic here, we have got
the garage.
What's that?
Mold in the garage.
I'm no longer in the garage, man. We have converted this into the man cave. It's the man cave. I got 4 TVs popping. I got the projector up.
Oh boy.
The only thing I'm missing is the garage door opener won't open the door anymore. So yeah, I'm still in the garage. Yeah. No. But yeah. So moving on here. The next topic. The next team that's kind of taken us by surprise are both of these teams, the New York Football Jets and the Miami Dolphins. I don't think I've ever said this, Tomes, but this Week 5 matchup versus the Jets versus Dolphins is kind of must-see TV. This is a game that I have circled that I want to watch. But Tua is out. Zach Wilson is back in. Teddy Bridgewater is leading the way. But with that being said, if the New York Football Jets beat the Miami Dolphins this week, then what?
Then again, I will be correct because this is another team that I am picking to win this weekend is the New York Jets over the Miami Dolphins. We've both talked about liking Teddy Bridgewater. We've both talked about, wondering why he's not getting a chance to start, why he's not being able to do the things that we think he's capable of doing. But maybe that answer is that because he's just not that guy. And I think the Jets are coming on strong. I think the Jets are really well coached. I like Robert Saleh. I said it when he was hired that it was a great hire by the New York Jets. I like what he's doing there. I like how he's got this team playing right now. And so I'm going to go with the Jets. They won a game last weekend that they had no business winning, come from behind victory. And so I think that the Jets beating the Dolphins is one of those things that's going to happen. And I think Tua's job is safe. I don't think that he has to worry about Teddy Bridgewater, and that's if Tua even comes back, man. I mean, look, I saw the tweet. Did you see the tweet from the neurosurgeon the other day?
I did not.
It was begging Tua not to play again. A neurosurgeon saw the injury and was like, please, for everything that is good for you and your family, hang up the helmet and walk away. Because the kid is tiny. I'm rooting for him to come back. I want to see him succeed. I've always had an issue. I've always said, look, there are small quarterbacks in this league that like Russell Wilson who can be successful in this league. I'm just not sure Tua is one of them, especially because he likes to get mobile. And he's going to take some of these hits. And after that concussion last week, I know he's out this week, but you're going to cringe every time he takes a hit from here on out.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of in general. Like after somebody gets rocked like that, like we're kind of holding our breath, like just like the next hit, like when Antonio Brown got his case rocked versus the Bengals, 10 years ago, and we're like, oh, is he going to be okay? Is he ever going to come back? Yada. But if the New York Football Jets beat the Miami Dolphins this week, then the Buffalo Bills have something to be worried about, Combs. That is right. The Buffalo Bills have something to worry about if the Jets beat the Dolphins. Not because they're going to take over the division, right? It's because the Buffalo Bills are not as dominant as they once was earlier in the season. When we saw them flex on the Rams, they're like, hell yeah. We were saying 17-0, 20-0, whatever it is, right? They were going to flex on the NFL. Then they stumbled versus Miami. Then they stumbled versus who they played last week. I can't remember who they played last week.
Oh, Baltimore, but they came back and won that game.
Yeah, but we have been underestimating the New York Jets for so long now that it has kind of been norm in the AFC East that you kind of have that game circled as like, hey, this is kind of an extra bye week, especially like at home. The Buffalo Bills
Don't do it, Buck.
better not do this. I told you guys, the Buffalo Bills will not they will not sweep the division this year, and the New York Jets are going to sweep them. If the Jets win this game, my prediction is going to be true. The Jets are going to win the AFC East.
It's the Detroit Lions all over again.
It is not.
If you're a Jets fan right now and you're watching this game, if you're a Jets fan right now and you are watching this show, you should just put all your stock in now. I'm changing my pick. I'm picking the Dolphins.
Let me ask you this question, a legit question, because Tori Anderson, our guy, the fantasy football guru himself, which I whooped his ass again this week, but we'll digress from that. He's been saying Zach Wilson is trash. Zach is trash for 2 years now. If Zach Wilson is still trash this week, as in he just doesn't look good, right? I mean, I don't care about the stats. I'm just saying, like, he just doesn't look good, right? The offense just doesn't look great. But the Jets still win. Do they put Joe Flacco back in as starting quarterback? Because, like, I think with Joe Flacco, like, the team just seemed to kind of just, like, look better, right? I mean, just, like, are we worried about Zach?
Came back last week and won the game.
I know, but I don't think he looked that good. Just because you win the game and you put up 200 yards,
he didn't look good in the first half, but in the second half and in the fourth quarter and late in the game when it mattered, he looked good. And I mean, that's kind of what matters, right? His first game back off of injury. You're expecting some rust. But he elevated that team to a victory.
Did he do it, or did Robert Saleh do it?
I mean, Robert Saleh is not on the field. I mean, look, Robert Saleh coached his team enough to where they believed in each other. But what Zach Wilson did in that game, especially at the end of that game, like I don't know. I don't know how you look at that at anything but a positive for Zach Wilson.
So are you telling me that Zach is not trash?
I don't think Zach is trash. I really don't. I mean, he threw for 252 yards. He had a touchdown. He did throw 2 picks. I'll give him that. But I mean, Flacco has 3 picks on the season too. They protected him well though. I mean, he only had the 1 sack. I think he only completed 50% of his passes, so he's got to elevate that a little bit. But even, I mean, look at Flacco. I think Flacco was only completing like 55% of his passes before he went out. So it's not like you downgraded that much there. I don't think Zach Wilson is trash. I think Zach Wilson is a better version of Mitch Trubisky.
The same Mitch Trubisky. I think Zach Wilson.
The same Mitch Trubisky got benched, but I say he's a better version of Mitchell Trubisky. I think he's a more accurate passer than Mitchell Trubisky is. I think he can sit in a pocket better than Mitchell Trubisky can. So I think he's a top 15 quarterback? No, but he's a starting quarterback in this league.
I mean, I'm not saying he's not a starting quarterback in the league because obviously he is, but next year is a better question than that because
that's what I'm saying. He's a guy who can sustain a starting position. He's not a guy that really has to look over his shoulder and worry about the guy behind him because he will do enough to help you win games.
Until Cooper Rush becomes a free agent, right? Next year, and we're looking at him as a New York Giant. Or a New York Jet,
look, what's the difference between him and Matt Ryan over the last 3 or 4 years? Since that Super Bowl loss, Matt Ryan's, won 2 games, won 3 games, won 6 games.
Matt Ryan also has
and Matt Ryan still got an opportunity. Right? Well, right, but I mean, how do you? It's like coming out of college and somebody saying you going into a job interview and somebody says, "Well, we need you to have some experience on the job." Right. Well, how do I get experience on the job until you give me experience on the job?
Exactly.
So you got to give the kid the experience. You got to allow him. You got to allow him the opportunity to succeed just as much as you have to allow him the opportunity to fail, right?
Right.
I think that's what the Steelers did for Mitch Trubisky this year. And Mitch Trubisky just he didn't take the bull by the horn. He's just not that guy.
Yeah, he's definitely more of a sheep than an alpha male. So Alpha Rob comes out. Like obviously Alpha Rob is a Buffalo Bills fan, and this is regarding the statement about the Jets beating the Buffalo Bills later in the year. He says, if the Bills cannot handle Zach Wilson and the Jets, they're not a Super Bowl team. How do you feel about that, Combs? Like, are you on board with that?
Who's not a Super Bowl team?
The Buffalo Bills are not a Super Bowl team if they cannot handle Zach Wilson and the Jets.
It's a divisional game. So, look, nothing surprises me, right? Like, if the Jets sweep the Bills, it wouldn't surprise me, but it doesn't mean the Bills aren't a Super Bowl team. The Bills, to me, are still the best team in the AFC. I think that they showed it in the first 2 weeks how dominant they can be.
They can be.
As a matter of fact, I believe I still had them number 1 in the rankings this week. And they won last week. They did have to have a comeback, but it was against the Baltimore Ravens, and it was in Baltimore. So I think Bills fans need to relax. They're a Super Bowl team. They might lose 5 games this year. They might go 12-5. They're still a Super Bowl caliber team. This offense can explode at any moment. This defense, the front 7 of this defense is as nasty as any defense in this league. So this defense, I don't care what they do, they're still a Super Bowl caliber team.
So, Alpha Rob, I am going to trump what Combs said because I think the Jets are that sleeper team this year, all that we've been thinking that the Giants were the last couple years, or the Bengals, yada, yada, yada.
That you thought the Lions were the last couple of years. Let's keep it real.
Listen, the Lions have been a great team, man. They just have
What did I say last week? They are a team that can score 45 points at will. They just
Exactly.
can't stop the other team from scoring 48.
That doesn't mean they're not a good.
And then what happened? What
team.
happened? What happened this weekend? What was the score of that final game?
I believe it was 48-45, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Just throwing it out there.
But the Jets have a lot of talent on that roster. Elijah Moore is about to explode onto the scene really quick here. He is like Elijah Moore, Combs, is like bamboo. Did you know that bamboo grows under the ground for almost 90 days before it sprouts out? So you have this root system of bamboo all through the yard, yada, 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 and then all of a sudden, poof, bamboo is like 100 foot tall. That's what Elijah Moore is. He is planting those seeds right now. He is getting his roots. And then the next thing you know, week 11, week 12, poof, this guy is going to explode. And you're like, oh, the Jets are the best team in the NFL. They're a top 10 team. Well, I'm telling you now, week 5, they are a top 10 team in the NFL. They are a really, really good team, Combs. They just haven't had the ball bounce their way quite yet, right? They are much like the Detroit Lions. The ball has been bouncing left when they've been trying to go right. I mean, it just happens. But we said it last week. This is the most parity in the NFL in recent memory. The last, at least 10, 12 years, right? From top to bottom, any given Sunday, any team can legitimately beat the best team in the NFL, and we're seeing it. And the Jets are just that good. So, Alpha Rob, pump the brakes. The Buffalo Bills will lose to the Jets twice this year. It just may not be in the playoffs.
Elijah Moore is a stud. I would not be surprised if Elijah Moore breaks out. He was one of my sleepers in fantasy this year because I really believe in this kid. He is one of those guys that I actually just traded for him last week in my league.
Yep.
And then in another league, a guy was trying to get me to give him Cooper Kupp for a running back. I can't remember which running back it was. And he wanted – I said no, and then he threw Elijah Moore in the deal, and it actually made me think about it for a second. Like, that's how much I really like this kid.
Yeah.
So I won't be surprised if Elijah Moore – the Jets just aren't ready. Look, the Jets are going to be an 8-win team. They're just not ready to be that team.
Right.
They're not going to win the division.
I agree with you. Which I agree with you on that. 100%.
You just said they're going to win the division. If they win this weekend, they're going to win the division, you said.
I didn't say that. I said if they sweep the Bills, then they'll win the division.
You said they were going to sweep the Bills. You said if they win this weekend, then they win the division. That was your if and then.
Yeah.
Don't try to backtrack. Look, it's on the interwebs. I'll go on it right now and double check it.
Hashtag waffle.
Tebow told me you can find it all on the internet.
Yeah, I think I got his jersey hanging up, like one of the 17 tight end jerseys that he has for my man Joey, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
Moving on. Speaking of moving on, the New England Patriots seem to be moving on from Mac Jones here pretty quickly in his second year. Mac Jones has been listed day-to-day with his ankle injury, and Bailey Zappe kind of took the game by storm last week when he did appear. Now, we've heard Cooper Rush being compared to Tom Brady 2.0. That is completely false. But Bailey Zappe, my man, Combs, a true rookie, true guy getting thrown in the fire, trial by fire, as they say, and he is succeeding. But if Bailey Zappe plays well and wins this week, then what?
Mac Jones might have to fight to get his job back. I think Mac Jones has been struggling out the gate. And when Zappe came in, man, he looked really good. I know my son didn't think so, as he made a post about him, but I had to back him off of that a little bit because, I mean, every time he turned around to throw the ball, he had a Packer in his face, and they still took the Packers to overtime. It took a last-second field goal to beat them. And so I like this Bailey Zappe kid. I don't know what – I didn't know when they drafted him. I didn't know what they saw in him, but now I do. And it's just – look, it's Bill Belichick, isn't it? This guy always finds a way to have a quarterback that can sling the ball. He always finds a way to make his system work. So if Bailey Zappe is successful in Mac Jones's absence, he might have to fight to get his job back, because if there's one coach in this league that is not afraid to pull the trigger, it's Bill Belichick.
Yeah, and we are looking at, because Drew Bledsoe signed a huge deal with the Patriots. Got hurt, was it week 1 or week 2? Insert Tom Brady, 7th round pick, never got his job back. He tried it in the playoffs. He stumbled a little bit. Second quarter, they pulled his ass out. Hey, Tom Brady, you are still in there. So I got an opportunity to watch Bailey Zappe a lot here at Western Kentucky last season, Combs. Because I had a couple players playing for Western Kentucky, so I got the opportunity to really watch him in person. And Bailey Zappe has that it factor. You know, when you bring out like a alpha male out of his element, because I think he was from from Abilene Christian or something like that, and he transferred to Western Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken on that. But he has that alpha male presence in him. He went into Western Kentucky and he was pissing all over the fence. He inserted himself in New England. He found Mac Jones' locker and he pissed on it. Bailey Zappe has taken this team by the horn since the day he was drafted. So it would not surprise me one bit if we don't ever see Mac Jones on the field again. Is this an overreaction? Hell yes, it is. But we learned from Tom Brady that Bill Belichick is not afraid to do this overreaction, especially when the Patriots are 2-2 right now, Combs. So they're kind of right there on the cusp of are we going to have a bad season or are we going to have a good season? And Bill Belichick wants to end out on top. Well, he's 75 years old or whatever he is, right? He wants to end out on top. He wants to outlast Tom Brady. Basically what it comes down to. It's the battle of the egos. And if Bailey Zappe can keep Bill Belichick in the game longer, definitely 100% Bailey Zappe's job to lose right now. So if Bailey Zappe plays well this weekend and they win, the key word there is win, Mac Jones will sit out next week as well. He will sit out until Bailey Zappe struggles.
And not only that, but you got to wonder if because Mac Jones was anointed last year as the guy to take over the throne for Tom Brady. And what is the one thing that really divided Bill Belichick and Tom Brady was the fact that he wanted Jimmy G to start. And you know what the Patriots organization is not right now? That's married to Mac Jones. And if he could do what he wanted to do in the beginning, what he sees right now is Jimmy G's face on top of Bailey, on top of Zappe, and then what he sees on top of Mac Jones is Tom Brady's head. So I really feel like you have a quarterback controversy brewing if Bailey Zappe balls out again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's brewing. I think it is already there. Just because, as soon as Hoyer got hurt, that was basically a disaster in New England. Like all the stars perfectly aligned, right? Hoyer got hurt, and then insert Bailey Zappe against, arguably a top 5 team in the NFC, in the Green Bay Packers versus the greatest quarterback of all time in Aaron Rodgers, and you take them into overtime. Yes, the defense had a lot to do with that, but at the same time, Bailey Zappe, I think he threw for a touchdown and ran for one, right? If I'm not mistaken. I don't know, but either way, he did ball out and did play well. Speaking of playing well, Christian Watson, Combs, is starting to show out for the Packers this season. Obviously, Christian Watson was drafted in the second round, much like Davante Adams was 10 years ago. Jordy Nelson. The Packers have a history of getting these guys. If Christian Watson becomes the next Davante Adams, then what?
Then I don't know. I don't see it happening. Christian Watson is, I don't even know what your definition of balling out is. But I don't think it's Christian Watson. He doesn't even lead the team in receiving yards. And I don't know. This team is still sputtering. I mean, even after that win, even after they started 3-1, Aaron Rodgers said, he's like, we can't sustain this. We can't keep winning like this, because if we keep winning like this, we're going to be hurting. And they are. They're going to be hurting. And they've got a tough schedule ahead of them. The Bears are going to get murdered by the Vikings this weekend. I think Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison are going to run for like 4,000 yards combined this weekend. And the Packers are going to find themselves, if they lose this weekend, I forget who they got. They got is it the Chiefs? No, who they got this weekend?
Who?
Oh, they got the Giants. The Giants. So if they find themselves struggling against the Giants, who are a very good team, and they've shown that they're a very good team, and they play to a lot of Green Bay's weaknesses, I really feel like the Packers are in big trouble. I really do. And I don't believe in Christian Watson. I don't think he's starting to ball out. I don't believe that the Packers are headed for better things than what I thought they were at the beginning of the year, which is 8 to 9 wins. Like, I still don't see it. This schedule coming up, they got the Giants this week. If they pull that one out, they got the Jets next week, right? But then you got to go to Washington and play a very good Commanders defense. Then you got at Buffalo. Then you get the Lions, who, as we said, score 45 points. And right now you haven't shown the ability to even get into a shootout with them. Then you got the Cowboys, Titans, and Eagles before you finally get a bye week when you play the Bears again. Like, I don't see it. I don't see anything for this. If Christian Watson becomes the next anything, I will be shocked.
Well, definition of balling out, Combs, is starting to get that connection with Aaron Rodgers. He
doesn't even have 180 yards yet on the year.
That doesn't matter. You can still
4 games. You don't have 180 yards receiving. That's less than 40. That's less than 40 yards a game receiving, Bob.
That is fine.
That's not balling out. What are you doing?
I'm telling you, pick him up on your fantasy team, and this week you will win. But Christian Watson is starting to come out, not at the closet, but with Aaron Rodgers. When you see Christian Watson at the end of this year, you're like, damn, the Packers nailed it again. They found another receiver, a diamond in the rough in the second and third round. What in the world is going on there? The Packers are doing something right on the GM side and drafting side of the ball. And with all that being said, if Christian Watson does ball out and become a Devontae Adams type of player, then Aaron Rodgers has no freaking excuses not to win another Super Bowl with his two years left on his contract. There should be no reason why the Green Bay Packers are not in the Super Bowl. They have another top 10 receiver in the league, and they have Dalbs, and they still have a Cobb, right, which is still a veteran presence on that field. And the defense is starting to lock it down. They have the highest paid cornerback in Jair Alexander. Like, the Packers are a good team on paper. And if Watson balls out the way I think he is going to by the end of the year, and Aaron Rodgers does not win a Super Bowl, then the Packers suck. Aaron Rodgers sucks. It's as simple as that. If Watson balls out, Aaron Rodgers is no longer the GOAT.
Christian Watson caught one pass on 3 targets for 8 yards last
That's fine, baby. Watch it.
The week before that, he had 3 catches on 3 targets for 9 yards.
Okay.
His best week so far has been 2 catches for 34 yards.
That's all right, Combs. You can take all those catches, add them up. Come week 11, he's going to be averaging that a game.
He's going to be averaging what? What's 1 times $1?
1. I said add them up, not times them up. Sheesh, Combsy.
You're reaching, man. It's Christian Watson is not balling out. Christian Watson is not, like, he's just not anything, and I don't even think that he's got the trust of his quarterback to even target him more than 2 to 3 times a game.
That's fine. You'll see.
Like, that's all resting. Like, it's not going to happen.
If
he's anything, I'll be surprised.
Speaking of 2 to 3 times a game, Combs. Alpha Rob says, Combs, what's going on with your guy, Justin Fields? 2 touchdowns all year? Come on, man.
It's rough, but you have to remember, too, that this guy is in one of the worst positions in the NFL.
Here we go.
You
have excuses.
Dude, first of all, he's in his second season. First and a half season, because he didn't have a whole season last year. But he's also got a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator, a new game plan. And he's getting the same treatment that they gave to Jay Cutler by saying, hey, look, Devin Hester is the best option we're going to give you, so here you go. The same thing is happening right now to Justin Fields. Name me one wide receiver he's got on this team that is a number 1 wide receiver or number 2 wide receiver on any other roster in this league. You can't. But he's not, though, Buck. Stop. No, St. Brown wasn't even a number 2 or number 3 last year. He's only a number 2 on the Bears because they don't have anybody else. They don't have anybody. The run game's been okay. The run game's been the bright spot. This team can block when they're moving forward. They can't pass block to save their lives. They don't run any play action passes. They don't run any RPOs. They don't do anything to put Justin Fields in a position to succeed. So it's the same stuff, different staff, and I hate seeing it. You know what I mean? Like I hate seeing the fact that this is going to keep happening. Like I don't know if it needs to be new ownership. I don't know if but we just keep hiring the wrong people. We've got talented players. Justin Fields is a talented football player. You put Justin Fields on the New England Patriots right now, they're probably 4-0.
Oh, jeez. Here we go.
You give them weapons. You give them a Nelson Aguilar. You give them, what did the Jets go out and do? They built around their young quarterback. They went out and got weapons. The Bears didn't do that. The Bears didn't go out and they went out and got him Velus Jones, who is basically another poor man's Devin Hester. That's what he is. And then what did he do on the damn kickoff? He fumbled the damn kickoff that could have put us in position to have a chance to win the game, even though we can't put the ball in the end zone anyway, so it didn't really matter. But he still fumbled the damn punt.
Yeah. Like as soon as I saw it, and I'm like, "What the hell?" Combs is losing.
It's sad, dude. I was late, so Saturday night was a long night. Sunday morning, I woke up just before kickoff, which cost me my fantasy football game by 0.15 points, as I showed Buck earlier. 0.15 points I lost, but because I didn't realize that there was a game going on in London, I didn't start Alexander Mattson, who I had just traded for. And obviously Saturday with the wedding, I didn't think about changing my lineup. And it cost me. So I was hungover in bed watching this Bears game. And by halftime, dude, I was asleep. I was taking another nap because it's the same stuff, man. And it's frustrating. It's really frustrating as a Bears fan.
So if you guys love true, raw, and uncut Chicago Bears talk, my man BC is starting a show Saturday. Shameless plug, BC. Sunday. Whatever day it is. It's the 10th, right? The 10th. No,
Sunday morning. Sunday morning.
Whatever. Tell him what's going to go on over there.
So Sunday morning, the 9th, because Buck can't count. Sunday morning, the 9th, we are going to be starting the Truth About Chicago Sports. And that is the new Chicago Sports Talk by Man Hour. And we're just, it's going to be the truth. If you are one of those Chicago sports fans who's like, oh, you know what? Next year, the White Sox, they're going to win the World Series. We don't even have to make any moves. Or if you're one of those guys who's like, oh, man, Tom Ricketts, this guy is the greatest owner in all of Chicago sports. He got us a World Series 6 years ago. Or if you're one of those Bears fans who's like, we're going to the Super Bowl. This isn't going to be the show for you. This isn't going to be the show for you. This is going to be the truth about Chicago sports. We're going to talk about how every owner in this town treats every team in this town like it's a small market. We're going to talk about the players that are on the rosters that should probably be traded or probably shouldn't be there. I don't care what their name is on the back of their jersey. We're going to talk about Jose Abreu and not wanting to go out there and taking that bat because he didn't want the limelight on him, but so he didn't want to give the fans an opportunity to say goodbye to him on his last game yesterday in Chicago. We're going to talk about stuff like that. We're going to talk about how guys like Patrick Wisdom cannot be your everyday third baseman. We're going to talk about that stuff, and we're going to be honest, and we're going to be truthful. We're not going to be like the ESPN Chicago's or the Score 670 Chicago. This is live, raw, uncut Chicago sports talk. Hit me up on Sunday.
Yeah, so guys, I will be posting the YouTube link in the description here, so it is down there if you guys want to subscribe to that and check out Beastie, Sunday morning. Do you have a time yet?
I'm pretty sure we're going to go live by 9 a.m.
There you go, 9 a.m. Central
I may
time.
or may not have a co-host. That's to be determined. But
to
as
be
of right now, at least I'll be there.
And that's all that matters because you carry most shows anyways. So,
especially this one,
right? So, speaking of being carried, Combsy, Tua has been carried off the field twice now in 2 weeks. Teddy Bridgewater is now officially the starter in Miami for the foreseeable future. We had a poll going over here on YouTube, youtube.com/manhour, and it says, does Tua get his starting job back after he is healthy? And the fans are split 50-50 apiece. So with that being said, how successful can the Miami Dolphins be with Teddy Bridgewater at the helm?
I think you should have put a caveat in that. Does Tua get his job back if he comes back? Because I don't know that he's going to come back. I'm kind of, you start listening to doctors, right? And I say this all the time. You get family members that go to the doctors and you get frustrated sometimes, because you feel like they're either not giving you the answers that you need or that you want, or you don't feel like they're doing enough or whatever the case is. So you start getting frustrated with those doctors. But at the end of the day, I always tell people, I don't feel like it's right. Like, I think that maybe there could be doing more, but at the same time, I'm not a medical professional. So I will always defer to their opinion. I will always defer to what they're doing because this is their job. This is their, livelihood. I'm pretty sure there's not one doctor out there. Well, maybe there's a couple out there, but there's not very many doctors out there that would put you at risk on purpose. And so where it all changed for me with Tua was seeing this neurosurgeon saying, for the love of God, just hang it up. It's not worth it. And he even said it wasn't until after he saw Tua's hands and the way his brain reacted to that hit. And let's be honest, Buck, that wasn't really a violent hit.
No.
It was. I mean, he kind of got suplexed. I'm still up in the air. Like, had they thrown a flag, I wouldn't have been mad about it either. You know what I mean? Because it was kind of a suplex and his head hit, but it wasn't like a crazy violent. It was just, I think it was leftover. And I know they fired the guy who assessed Tua the week before, but it's not just that guy who's at fault here. That entire Dolphins organization who said, oh yeah, he had a back and knee thing going on. That's why he was falling. And no, he clearly had a concussion the week before, and you put him back out there, and then that happened to him. You put him at risk. So I'm with the neurosurgeon here. I don't want to see Tua come back. I want to see Tua say, you know what? This guy's right. It's not worth it. I love this game and I love what it did, but unfortunately for me, it's just not in the cards, and my life is not worth it, because every time this guy goes to take a hit now, man, it's going to be you almost are waiting to see him die on the field. And so that's why for me, I don't want to see Tua get his job back, because I want Tua to make the decision to not take his job back. But if he does come back and if he does decide to come back, it's going to be his job. He's not getting overtaken by Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah. Combs, this is the same Teddy Bridgewater the same Tua that was replaced by Ryan Fitzpatrick in the fourth quarter of almost every game last season. This is the same Tua that cannot complete a 5-yard out on a dime. This is the same Tua that threw the ball amazingly down the field to Tyreek Hill. He had to stop, pivot, and come back 20 yards to catch the ball. This is the same Tua that struggled with all this in college as well. Tua is not an NFL quarterback at the end of the day. He has really good talent around him, which makes him look better, right? But the true starter on the Miami Dolphins is on the roster right now. It is not Teddy Bridgewater. He will fumble this week versus the Jets. Teddy Bridgewater will look like complete dog trash, and probably third quarter, we are going to get the next Tom Brady on the court or on the field, Combs. You know exactly where I'm going. We talked about this summer. My man, Skylar effing Thompson from the Kansas State University, the purple and silver, will lead the Miami Dolphins to the playoffs this season. Skylar Thompson was drafted for a reason. That's not to be a third-string quarterback. That isn't to be a practice squad quarterback. That isn't go from team to team to team like Josh Rosen does. This is to be the leader of the Miami Dolphins. This is to actually throw Tyreek Hill the ball down the field 60, 70 yards. This is actually to get Jalen Waddle the ball as well. Also, on the flip side of that, he can hand the ball off pretty damn good. We saw a lot in Kansas State. Said, Hike, oh, you want to run a little speed option? Okay, Myles Gaskin, let's run some speed option. Raheem Moser, you want to run a little power eye? We got you here too, baby. And he is a right-handed player. That instantly makes him better. These left-handed quarterbacks are so trash. All of them are. Skylar Thompson will not give Tua back his job at all. Ever again, Combs. Not because he's hanging the helmet up, or whatever you want to call it. Because Skylar Thompson is better than Tua.
Skylar Thompson's not even going to get into the game.
Yes, he is. Watch it. Let's lay money on it.
Are you calling a Teddy Bridgewater injury?
I am calling a Teddy Bridgewater 4-interception game versus Sauce Gardner.
He's still not going. Teddy Bridgewater could throw 30 interceptions next week, and I guarantee you, they're not giving the ball to your boy.
What's his name? Mike McDaniels is not married to Tua. Mike McDaniels is not married to Tua.
Clearly, he tried to kill him.
He is not married to Teddy Bridgewater as well. You know who he is married to? The quarterback that he drafted? Skylar Thompson.
Come on. He didn't draft this quarterback.
Yes, he did. Skylar Thompson is probably the best quarterback in this draft. He will be. And Mike McDaniels see it. He is a offensive-minded Dungeons and Dragons living in his mom's house still type of guy. He
think this GM went to this coach and said, hey, who do you want to draft? 3 weeks after he got hired?
Oh, yeah. Skylar Thompson.
No,
yeah.
I think this GM took the guy who he wanted and told the coach, hey, this is the guy you're going to develop.
No. I'm sure during the draft process, Mike McDaniels is like, hey, this is my team now. If you want me to come down here and give you a Super Bowl and not get paid to lose, Skylar Thompson is my guy.
Then why didn't they go after a quarterback with their first pick?
Because
they picked at 5. Why didn't they pick up a quarterback
they knew
at 5?
Skylar Thompson was going to fall to rounds 4 or 5 or 6. Like, come on.
This isn't fantasy football, Buck. You can't just find a quarterback in the 4th and 5th round.
Yes, you can.
No, you cannot.
Bailey Zappe,
Stop.
Skylar Thompson. Come on, the list goes on and on and on, baby. Dak Prescott.
Dude, talking with you is like talking to the people that believe that 62 is greater than 73. Sometimes you just make me want to choke you out.
Do you remember when Stoney Baloney and Wayne G were on the network and they had a competition of 12 is greater than 6 or something like that, or 6 is greater than 12 or whatever?
Yeah.
We should probably get 62 is greater than 73 shirts made.
I can't get with you on the Skylar Thompson thing. Because he's a K-State guy, and because you're a K-State guy, I'm pulling for him. But I don't know. I don't see it.
You know, how about this? If Skylar Thompson does not get in the game at all this year, the Miami Dolphins are a complete failure of an organization. They will never win a playoff game ever again.
Okay. I mean, okay.
Any closing thoughts before we head out, man?
Yeah, just that 73 is still greater than 62. Man Hour Nation, rise up.